Yo yo yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new F1 2020 video. Today another league race around Bahrain short in ORL. This is gonna be my fourth race, if I remember correctly, in ORL. I think it's round 7. Currently P4 in the championships, only 2 to 3 points behind the top 3. And looking to take the championship lead, of course, around Bahrain this time. So gonna be interesting. Currently P2 with a 57.476. I did 1.5 push lap on those, so I prefer to do another one and improve. Doesn't have to be by a lot, but just so I can start on fresher tires. So that's my aim for this last run. Don't necessarily need to get pole, as it's gonna be one big
Rip
slipstream.
I don't know what happened to him, but maybe he was thinking he was driving on the old track. You guys cannot see that, but he went basically off where this track goes to the right.
So as you can hear, my teammate went a little off in turn 3.
Already be happy with an improvement.
Yeah, as you can hear me say there. Just looking to improve slightly and start on slightly fresher tires, because aim is going to be soft to mediums, which is a little bit tricky, as I'm just making space for the Alfa Romeo there, starting my lap, trying to get a good exit out of the last corner to take as much speed as possible into your flying lap, of course. So managed to do that down the straight, almost 330 kilometers per hour before turn 1, braking at just before 100 meters down to second gear, short shift to third, and then you don't really need to prepare this exit, as it's very short before you go into turn 3 down to second gear, short shift to third, use all the road available on exit, and then open the DRS going towards turn 4 or 5, I don't know officially what it is. 600s down on Alessio Di Capua, down to 4th gear. I went a little bit wide, as you can see. I'm losing 300s down there, 400s actually. Heading down this fast right-hander, easy flat down to 4th gear, and then short shift to 5th on the exit. See, right on the edge of the white line there. You can hear me say, not very happy with the lap. 300s down, going into the final corner, up to 8th gear, down to 4th, and then go into 4th gear. You can also use 3rd with 4th, you have slightly more minimum speed, and then we only just improved by 6 thousandths.
Now I have better tires.
You can hear me say, happy with that, because now I have slightly fresher tires than with the lap time I said before, because did half a push lap more on those. So P2, it is going to be 200s behind Alessio. Didn't practice that much around this track, as I don't enjoy the Bahrain short track as much. So yeah, next week I think is Spa, enjoying that one a lot more, so also looking forward to that one a lot more.
Are they still on a lap?
So looking at the strategy now, you can see soft to medium is it going to be with plus 4.5 laps of extra fuel I end up with. It's quite a short track, so plus 4.5 laps of fuel is not that much extra fuel compared to like Spa. It will be equal to like plus 1 lap of fuel around Spa, more or less. I don't know exactly, of course, but yeah, ended up being 12 thousandths of pole in P2.
Honestly,
so let's head into the race now.
OP coins.
Yeah. Lining up on the grid in P2 now behind Alessio Di Capua, who did a solid job. I saw he had the fastest time in time trial as well. Lining up ahead of Alvaro Carreton, Josh Idowu, I should say. Someone corrected me on that in the last video. And Fabricio Donoso in P5. So yeah, Alvaro is I think currently in P3 in the championship. So will be good if we can finish ahead of him. That's the aim for this race. But anyway, let's head to the start now. 3 stripes of throttle in the right bottom. You can see rich fuel makes 5 red lights, and away we go. You can see we get initially a better start, and also the second phase is slightly better. Heading into turn 1 ahead of Alessio, braking at 75 meters. You can see he goes wide, but he goes slightly too wide onto the dirty part of the track, and we take the lead in the first lap of the race. Main goal for this first stint is to make the tires last. That's gonna be my goal. I also set up the car like that, so the balance is nice throughout the stint, because that's really what we need if we want to make this soft medium strategy work. So gonna use some overtake to try and stretch the field a little bit, but at the same time I don't want to use too much and maybe risk getting pulled out of DRS by Alessio if he has that much more pace. Now for the first time heading into the last corner, I like to use fourth gear. I saw some people use third gear, I think so, in the last corner, but I felt just simply better with fourth gear. So now you can see Alessio
he's in a rush.
Straight away using quite a lot of overtake. Maybe he's in lower wings, I'm not sure, but he did gain a lot. I'm just gonna let him go because there's no point fighting at this point. Just want to make these tires last as long as possible. Some people might go for the undercut, some people might even go for a two-stop, as that might work. I was quite sure two-stop was not going to work, so I decided to go for soft to medium strategy. So yeah, a lot of different strategies can work around here, I feel like, but I felt like soft to medium was going to be the best. So now I'm just going to stick behind Alessio for the next few laps and save my tires, save my fuel for later on, save my ERS, etc, etc. And then once the pit stop phase come, we can stretch maybe a few laps longer, which can help us later on in the race. So now we move on to the end of lap 10. You can see the order is pretty much still the same. I think Josh and Fabrizio switched around, but Alvaro is still behind us. We still have exactly the same amount of extra fuel left, and now I decide to get past again because I felt like I had slightly too much fuel, so I wanted to get into the lead and burn it off. As it's easier to burn off that fuel, we're in the lead, so the engine doesn't overheat as fast. So getting back into the lead now, trying to burn off that fuel in the next few laps. Also, if I do decide to stay out longer on those softs, then I will come out back in traffic probably compared to the people that try to undercut me. So then I again can't really burn off that fuel. So now it's a good time to burn off that fuel. So I'll be lighter once I get back out in traffic. So yeah, for the next few laps, just gonna burn off that fuel. Still don't want to use my tires too much, as I said before. Want to stretch that soft stint as long as possible, so I can make it to the end on those mediums. It's now coming through the last corner again. Fourth gear, you can see back end stepping out slightly. 39% on the rear left. As I put my
I thought VSC was coming out. I was like, shit.
I was putting my personal best that lap. Used probably a little bit more ERS than I should have, but nothing too bad. We're still on 84%. I think at this part of the race, Alessio is quite clearly a little bit faster. But well, it also depends on how hard he's pushing on the tires, fuel and ERS, of course. So yeah, I really want to stay in P1 now, so I can burn off that extra fuel for once I come out in traffic. Now moving on to the end of lap 16, you can see I burned more than one lap extra of fuel off, which is what my aim was. But you can see I'm on 50% ERS.
Yeah, I think he's also using Overtaking. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him go here and well, start saving my ERS again. You can see I went to 50%, stretched the top 5 a little bit more. You can see Fabrizio Donoso has gone into the pits already. So he's looking to do a two-stop, I think so. So he's surely going to get the undercut on us. But, well, that doesn't matter. You can see Alessio getting a bit squirmy on the exit there with the backhand. But now I'm just going to try and maintain those fuel levels more or less. Because I do want to have something extra for in the final part of the race. Or in case I need to close down a gap. So I'm going to try and save my tires a little bit. As you can see, the rear is a little bit on the edge there. 57% now. So recharging my ERS, and then once people pit, I can use it a little bit to reduce the undercut they will have. So now just gonna stick behind Alessio for the next few laps until he pits. As you can see, Alvaro Carreton comes into the pits already. Yeah, you can hear me say a lot of early stops. So Alvaro might go for the two-stop as well. I'm looking to pit around lap 23 to 24, because then I only need to do around 34 laps on the mediums, sorry. And now you have to do 40 laps, which is quite a lot. Because that means you can only have 2% tire wear per lap. And you can see 58% on the rear left. I'm looking to stretch them to 75% more or less. So now we are almost heading into lap 21. You can see 66% on the rear left and Alessio Di Capo pits at the end of lap 20. So that's going to be interesting. Only soft runner left now out on track. But I was confident that I had to stay out for a few more laps. I knew they were going to undercut me by 3, 4, 5 seconds maybe. But in the end, I will probably gain it back. Also, don't want to get in puncture territory towards the end of the race, of course. So yeah, I can see the minimap. You guys cannot, of course, because my big hat is in the way of that. So yeah, Alessio I think came out in behind Fabricio, Alvaro and Josh. But well, he has fresher tires, so it won't be too long until he clears them. But I will drop back more. Yeah, as you can hear me say there, staying out for a bit longer to stretch these soft tires. And then I will have an advantage for the rest of the race, especially to the people that are trying to do a one-stop as well. You can see the rear stepping out slightly there. And the tire marker is getting orange. Once it gets red, you're starting to get closer to puncture territory. With this new wheel I don't really have to go through the MFD as much anymore. As you can see, the tire wear on my dash of my wheel. So that's really handy. Makes it a little bit easier. I still often
I'm gonna drop to
scroll through the MFD.
behind the Force India anyway, so.
Yeah, so I still scroll through the MFD menu automatically because, well, that's what I'm used to. Yeah, as you can hear me say there, Force India, even though it's a racing point for the past 2 years, more or less. Still not used to it, probably never will. But yeah, no point in getting out straight away behind him, so I'm gonna stretch the tires for maybe 1 to 2 laps even longer. The medium runners behind me, who started on mediums, are gaining a little bit of time now, so that's a good indication that I should pit soon, as well, I don't want to simply lose too much time, especially when you get past the 70% mark. They do start to, or tend to, drop off more time than any other region of tire wear. So really gonna push it here. I can't really because, well, tire wear in the rear is quite high around here compared to the front, so it does get quite edgy towards the end of the stint. But at the same time, that's the reason why I'm staying out so long, so I have more pace in the end of the race. You can see I'm using quite a bit of fuel now. As I said before, trying to burn down that fuel and use it in clean air, as it will be a lot more efficient, because in traffic the engine will overheat if I try to burn it off. So then once I come out, I'm slightly lighter and it will be easier to overtake.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Bro, not now. Just fuck off with your strategy.
You can hear me complain about Jeff coming up with a strategy. Just want to use my own. Thanks, Jeff.
Oh,
coming into the pits. Yeah, still not completely used to the wheel buttons. It's all a little bit different, but I'm getting there. A bit nervous going into the pits if I was pressing the right button.
Should drop back to, I think, behind the Haas, but I'm not sure. No worry, that's fine. I hope so.
So yeah, we have 3 laps fresher tires than Alessio, and 6 to 7 laps fresher tires than the Williams and McLaren of Josh and Alvaro. So yeah, coming out behind the Haas of Shazoo Get Owned. I think he started on the mediums if I'm correct, or he's going for a 2-stop as well. You see there Shazoo Felipe on the hards.
Confused.
So probably doing a 1-stop as well. Domenico Lovecce also on hards, doing a very solid job, so he might have a lot more pace than most people towards the end of the race because he went to hards. I think he made the pit stop around lap 16, 17. But right now we are going to have a lot more pace. You can see I'm going to use my overtake right here, so I can just about get a DRS of Shazoo Get Owned on this straight. I won't be able to overtake him yet. I literally cut into the DRS detection, I think 0.998% tenths, so just made a DRS, which is quite important, of course, because you gain 2 to 3 tenths by just getting this DRS. Sorry. And then I'm looking to probably get past him next lap on this straight, depending how hard he wants to fight me, of course. So I think he's on a completely different strategy. He doesn't want to fight us too hard, I think so. Usually, Shazoo Get Owned really knows when to battle and when not. So he really picks his battles well. Usually when he's a pit stop behind, he doesn't fight people too hard and just tries to get his own race under control. As you can see, his rear light starts flashing, which means he is on a low deployment ERS wise. As I go a little bit wide, almost got a track limit invalidation. He's going to use his overtake a little bit here, because we don't want to go side by side into the last corner, of course. I think he was also trying to get a DRS of Domenico. And now coming out of the last corner, he pulls off to the right and he's going into the pits, which I think is quite early for the mediums. Not sure, but he's going to try it. And now we need to hand down Domenico to try and get into his DRS. Now we got right to the back of Domenico on the hards. Gonna be interesting to see if he's gonna fight. As you can see, he doesn't use the overtake. We both have DRS, but I used my overtake out of the last corner, so it's slightly more momentum. You can see there, I used a little bit more overtake halfway through the straight, and we get past him going into turn 1. You can see Fabrizio Donoso with a 3-second time penalty for track limits, as you can hear me say there. So yeah, when it's such a DRS terrain, if you have 3 seconds, you're probably out of contention for the win, unless you can pull off something amazing. But now I want to recharge my battery to more or less 100% behind Josh, and then once I'm back to 100% or 90% more or less, then I'm trying to have a go at Josh. So just gonna recharge my battery now and then push to get past Josh.
Unless you really get out of DRS. Did he not?
Can you hear me say, did Alessio get out of the DRS? Probably just about not, or didn't. But if he did, that means probably is low on ERS by now, and then we can hunt him down later on again. But we have the benefit of the DRS at the moment. You can see I'm cooling the engine slightly as getting towards the 25 degrees region. So just gonna cool it a little bit, which I do quite often on the straight. As I said before, can't really burn down or use my extra fuel now, as the engine will overheat in this dirty air. Now we got our ERS quite far back to 85% going into the last corner, more or less. And now I'm looking to have a go at Josh, who didn't know at the time if he was going to do a 2-stop or a 1-stop. He wasn't sure if the mediums were going to make it. So he was a bit insecure with what he had to do, if he had to push or save the tires, looking back at his stream. But he's not going to fight us, so he lets us go now. And now we're going to try and get past Fabrizio as fast as possible as well. We didn't really have to use a lot of ERS to get past Josh, so that's really nice for us, as we still have the fast lap of the race. In the end, someone might pit for new softs and use all of the ERS, so we're probably not going to keep that fastest lap. So don't really need to worry about it, especially on Bahrain, where tire wear is quite aggressive. You drop off quite a lot, so even if my tires are quite worn out, I won't be able to even have a go at it. Some tracks you can, maybe like Silverstone, but around Bahrain the time loss is too much. So now I'm behind Fabrizio. I'm not gonna have a go just yet. I think I'm gonna stay behind for 1 or 2 laps more. I'm gonna cool the engine. You can see 127 degrees there, putting it down to lean, heading into turn 1. Fabrizio quite close to Alvaro, actually 4 tenths now, actually going through turn 2, 3. Looked like it was a little bit closer in turn 1. So he goes a little bit wide. It might have been a warning, actually, not sure. Looks like Fabrizio used a little bit of overtake there. I haven't seen his light flashing, so he is not on low deployment, surely. And I think Alvaro is just about still in the DRS of Alessio in the Ferrari. But now maybe you can see we're 2.5 tenths only behind Fabrizio, who is on almost 10 lap older tires than us. So he is really disadvantaged by the tire wear at the moment. Probably not going to fight us too hard as well, because he has a slide going through the last corner. I'm going to put on the overtake and have a go at him now. And quite an easy pass. He's not going to fight us. He has the 3-second penalty, of course. So just want to let us go and drive his own race from here on. He's probably in the 2-stop as well. Oh, as Fabrizio, I think, slightly ahead us. Might have been desync, not sure. I remember, I think watching Josh stream, didn't really look like he touched me. Maybe he just missed his braking point slightly. I'm not sure, but it didn't really affect us too much. So now I'm gonna hand down Alvaro maybe get my ERS slightly higher back up, but yeah, really trying to get the benefit of the DRS here for the next few laps. As I went green through sector 1, probably because I used the overtake and the DRS of Fabricio, of course. That definitely helped, but on for another improvement of a personal best this race. As Alvaro actually just got out of the, or just about didn't reach the DRS of Alessio. So Alvaro's not going to get DRS here. We are, because we are...
He's pitting?
As Alvaro actually pits for a second pit stop. So Alvaro might be going on to the softs until the end of the race. We are fine on tire wear. As you can see, 25%. So we are easily going to make it till the end. We can actually push really hard. I think I saw Alessio's light flashing there. So that means we can attack and use our ERS and tire advantage to close down that gap now, which I'm going to do. You can see putting on the overtake to hunt down Alessio. You can see gain 2/10 just on that straight. I'm going to use my fuel here right as well. I'm in clean air, more or less. You can see Josh low in ERS as well, so he won't be able to probably stick with us in DRS. Obviously having all the tires as well makes it slightly harder. Again, coming out of this corner, going to use the overtake towards the last corner, as I'm 200s up on my personal best lap. Probably gonna put again a slightly better lap in than the one before. Gonna turn on my overtake once again, coming across the line. It's a 1:00:47, and now we're back into the DRS with the fastest lap of the race as well. And now I'm just gonna recharge my ERS the coming laps again, save my tires, and then go for it later on in the race. So we now move on to the final 3 laps of the race. You can see 90% ERS. All I've been doing is saving ERS, tires and fuel. Alessio had to use overtake there, otherwise I was going to get past. So we're forcing him to use his ERS in those last 3 laps. And I'm just going to sit back and wait maybe until next lap or even the last lap to use it. You can see his rear is all over the place as he pitted 4 laps earlier than us. 3 laps earlier, sorry, as he's moving from the right to the left to break the toe. But you can see we gained so much on the straight just by DRS. His rears are probably quite off as well. You can see even my rear is sliding around a little bit. He had to push really hard all race, I would say. So here his rears are a lot further down the drain than ours. And now going into the final corner, we're only 1.5 tenths behind now. Braking at 100 meters down to 4th gear still to carry more speed in. And now I'm going to use my overtake right here to try and get past. You can see he goes to the right defensive. We keep our overtake on with the DRS. I turn it off actually, as I felt like I was going to be clear going into turn 1 anyway. We go defensive going into turn 1. And we are going into the lead now with 75% ERS remaining, so we can push really hard. Looking back at Alessio's stream, I think he had only 30% remaining at this point, so we're just gonna pull off into the distance now using our ERS and fuel. Okay. Also the tire advantage playing
last lap.
Into
pushing.
Yeah, as you can hear me say, I've got to keep pushing. He's gonna keep pushing as well, of course, but it looks all in our favor going into the last lap. He's only 4.5 tenths behind, but now coming in out of the second last corner, sorry. I'm gonna move to the right to break the toe. Gonna use my overtake as well, and gonna keep it. Actually, I go down to lean to cool the engine, but then on the exit we go back to rich, use the overtake button, and you can see
lap?
he's nowhere near us.
No idea what the fast lap is. No, we won't.
Yeah, we won't be able to get the fast lap as the tires are dropping off too much. Unless you're 7 tenths behind now, nothing he can do. He does brake really late in some kind of attempt to do something, I think so. But now we still have 40% ERS remaining, which I'm going to use on this straight here. Domenico Lovecchia going to finish in P3 probably, so he made the hard tires work pretty well. Our teammate Patrick Crouch in P4 but has a 3-second time penalty, so he's going to drop down to at least P5. And now on this final lap I'm just going to push it and try to get the gap to well over a second. See, rear tire is still quite nicely intact. I wouldn't say
1 second.
Balance stayed quite nice throughout the stint, which is quite hard to do around Bahrain as Fabrizio Donoso
Fabrizio
puts the
for
fast lap of the
so
race.
grazie,
As we come
ragazzi.
across the line, we win for the 3rd race in a row in ORL. Sorry, I think it's my 2nd race win actually, as I've only done 4 races.
What Lex
I won 3 and finished P5 in China, of course.
Grazie.
So very solid race, in my opinion. Didn't practice too much, as I said,
Forza
as I
Mercedes.
didn't enjoy it. I can even say Forza Mercedes. Yeah, Josh in the end dropped down to P11. He didn't went for an extra pit stop, just had no tires left in the end. Alvaro Carreton went for the 2-stop and made it work very well, as you can see. I felt like the 2-stop was going to be even worse, so he got up to P5, which is very solid, I would say, in my opinion. Fabrizio, I'm not sure what happened, dropped down to P16. He was almost a lap behind in the end, so not sure what happened, maybe had an incident or something, so he decided to go for the fast lap in the end. But yeah, important that our championship rivals, Alvaro Carreton, Patrick Crouch, and Daniela, that didn't score that well. So that means we're back into the championship lead after missing the first 3 rounds of the season. So yeah, very happy with my return to ORL, winning 3 out of the 4 races so far, and looking to make that 4 out of 5 next week, as there's a Renault reversed on the start-finish straight. Not sure what that was. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, you might have seen on my community post that I've got a new upload schedule. So make sure to check that out as well, if you want to see more videos of me consistently. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. As I said before, make sure to like and subscribe. And see you guys next time. Ciao.